Hey friends, I have started doing morning pages as an intention for the new year. Up till now, I've been spending like half an hour first thing in the morning looking at my phone, which has been a way to distance myself from all the junk in my head. But I'm hoping that pouring all of that out on the pages instead will put me in a better state of mind for my day. And I'm 2 for 2 so far. It's working great. I'm not a consistent or committed journaler, so we'll see if I can keep up. But I wanted a dedicated notebook for this purpose, and I started by just folding sheets of Rhodia dot paper in half to get a roughly A5 size booklet. I went to Michael's to check for a traveler's notebook style cover, and the new ones they had against the wall in the new hand lettering section looked like they wouldn't quite fit A5. I think I actually miscalculated that and they would fit, but after I came to that conclusion, I found this frosted plastic in the poster board section and decided to go with it. Some other ladies who were there shopping asked if it was Shrinky-Dinks plastic, and I said I wasn't sure, but I think anything could be Shrinky-Dinks plastic if you believe in yourself. It doesn't say that it's number 6 plastic, but it doesn't say that it isn't either. It is a very large poster board size sheet of plastic for $2, and you can make a lot of dashboards with that as well. It creases nicely with a bone folder, and the spine for this is a little over an inch thick. I considered putting on additional creases so the spine would have somewhat of a curve to it, but I didn't want to weaken the plastic further before I really had a sense of how strong it was. Now, if I were to use an awl to poke holes in this plastic, that would probably result in tearing, so I used a special spring-loaded hole punch that I keep around specifically for non-paper materials. It also works great on leather. I've used it for other traveler's notebooks covers in the past. And I like my cover corners to be rounded, so I'm going to use a corner punch here in a second as well. This plastic is a little too thin to qualify as something that I would put in my bag and take it everywhere as my main notebook, but I absolutely love how my writing shows through. This material is a great option for use at home or for creating a custom traveler's notebook binder to archive your inserts that you filled. I have made so many custom notebook covers for myself that I usually have a bunch of elastic around. I'm threading it through the middle hole twice and the outer holes once each, for a total of 4 elastics on the inside of the spine. The ends get a square knot to keep them snug in the middle. And I don't want to keep my spine curved if ever there aren't any inserts inside, so there's just enough tension on the elastic to hold that booklet in place. Next, I'm adding a pen loop with some 3/4 inch fold-over elastic. My Jane Davenport Incredible pen will stay with this notebook, and I want it to sit centered vertically along the edge. So in order to make sure that my cuts don't tear, I'm using my punch again to mark the upper and lower limit of the slot through which I'll thread my elastic, and then I'm cutting the space in between those 2 holes. I cut my elastic, turn it inside out, and I stitch it closed. And I'm using a blanket stitch to lock everything in place and a back stitch to get to where I started and triple knot it. Then I turn it right side out again so that the seam is on the inside, and I make sure that my ends are trimmed. I would advise you to err on the side of snugness with the elastic, just because mine is a little bit loose. My pen's not going to fall out, but if I had it to do over again, I would put that seam in a little bit further. The outside elastic knots through the center of the spine, and I pretty much tie as many knots as I can stand to ensure that it won't pull out through the hole. At some point I'll add a charm on the outside, and it might even be a Shrinky Dink. I put it all back together and my notebook cover is complete. Because this cover is see-through, I wanted super vibrant inserts, and I won't be stapling the insert covers to the pages so I can swap them out whenever I want the front to look different. And I'm sizing this Fabriano paper to 1/4 of an inch larger than the Rhodia paper in both directions. My first cover uses Jane Davenport Incredible inks. I spray them with water, smush my paper to lift them, and let them drift and move while they're still wet. and I hate wasting gorgeous ink, so I like to pick up the excess with some thin sketch paper that I save for collage elements. After drying and folding, the next step is to use a Molotow liquid chrome marker to create a sort of constellation and then connect the dots. This is the shiniest marker in all of existence. I love the way that it flashes in the light. And now it's time to test it with the clear cover. I'm really happy with how this one looks. I've cut down another piece of Fabriano and I wanted a simple stencil design in acrylics. Unfortunately, my camera didn't catch all of this, but it is super self-explanatory. I just put down one layer of gray and then I pounce aqua through a stencil over half the sheet, moving diagonally across what will be the spine. Then I bring in a darker teal with just a tiny bit of overlap. The spots where the teal and aqua don't quite line up give the impression of enlarged offset printing, which I love. It dries super fast. I fold it and round off the corners, and then I slide it into place, and now I have a cover that goes particularly well with my fountain pen. For my third cover, I'm working with stencils once again, but also with Gilder's paste and watercolor to create a resist. So for the larger designs, I wanted just a faint outline, so I'm using my pencil to trace the cutouts. Now I'll bring in some Gilder's paste. This is the German silver color that I also used in my last video. I really like it. It's pale and it's warm and it's just got a little bit of metallic sheen to it. Because it's wax-based, it's going to mostly resist watercolor, so I'm wetting down my paper for maximum flow. And I want this to be in shades of orange and gold and a little bit of red. I started out with gelatos. I didn't particularly like that effect, so I just came in with my regular watercolors. I'm starting with Quor Quinacridone Burnt Orange, and you get a slow-mo replay because the flow on these paints is just unreal. Look at that. Look, it's so pretty. Next is some Winsor Newton Quinacridone Gold, which I'm almost out of. In fact, I just refilled that half pan this morning. And then Quor Transparent Pyrrole Orange, which doesn't get much use in my palette. It's just really like construction cone bright, but it really worked here, as well as Jane Davenport Frolicsome from the Glitz C palette. And then I started bringing in some Quinacridone Crimson to mix in with these as well. I sprayed a little bit more water and I touched things up with the M-gram Quinacridone Gold. And now here it is, all dry and shiny. I had a little bit of paint left on my mat, so I just flipped it over and picked that up and then folded it. And if you have a cover that you're afraid of marring in the folding process, you can just lay another sheet of scrap paper over it to protect it from your bone folder. It's probably something I should do every time I fold paper, but I don't usually bother. Here's how it looks through my cover, super vibrant. I did forget to round the corners off, so I'll do that now. Here comes the final flip through, and this notebook is a chunk. I made a total of 3 mixed media covers, and then you'll also see that my last cover inside is the same clear plastic because I just really love the way that my writing shines through. I have this sneaking suspicion that in 2018 I'm going to switch to A5 size permanently, but I just got an official Midori TN. I just got a nice wallet insert and made it part of my everyday carry, and I don't want to switch yet. The A5 size is just so pleasant to work with though, and I'm really looking forward to writing in this more. So if you have any particularly beloved A5 resources that you want to share with me, please leave me a comment. I hope you enjoyed this and it inspires you to try making your own cover. Thanks so much for watching.